Hi everyone, and welcome to Rainy Day Makers, where we share what we know or think is fun. If you like what you see, please click on the YouTube subscribe button and like this video so that we can make more to share with you. This is brought to you today by Sharon from Rainy Day Makers. I am part of a duo on this channel. My friend Tammy is also part of Rainy Day Makers, and you will see her videos on this channel as well. Between the two of us, we harbor many learned things as makers. So today I am making a vintage look bookmark. For this you will need double-sided cardstock paper, newsprint or magazine print, flower sticker on a clear background, double-sided tape, white glue, scissors, a paper cutter, and an ink dauber, and a brownish ink pad. You can see here I am cutting these pieces of cardstock at 1/8 inch over 2 inches wide and 6 inches long. And I am cutting 2 pieces. Now this cardstock is double-sided cardstock, meaning there's a print on both sides. So I'm going to use one side of it for the front and one side for the back. And we'll be attaching the 2 pieces together. So take a look, decide what you want to be your front. What is the side you think is the prettiest? And that's what I'm doing here, is auditioning those pieces of paper. So I've decided what I'm going to do with the small print on the back and the roses on the front. I think that'll be cute. All right. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape and cover the entire side that I'm not going to have facing out of the rose print, which is going to be my front piece. So as you can see, I'm putting just long swaths of double-sided tape. This is the fastest way to do it. You could glue it too. I'm just going for the expedient way to have this really stick together fast and quick. It's a little sticky on your fingers, so all you got to do now is get it off your finger, and then match it up to the other piece, and you're making like a little paper sandwich, if you will. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to match up the edges the best that I can for this, both the long edge and the short edges, and then I'll press those together. And I try to match in the corner and then all along the length before I let the tape go down onto the other side. But if yours is off, mine is a little bit, I can see some little edges coming over, you can always trim it down. That's why we made it a little over 2 inches, so we could trim down that long edge. So I'm going to take a little bit off both sides where it really just kind of had a little bit of an edge. It bothers me. If it doesn't bother you, don't bother trimming it. And we're going to do both sides of that. Let's get that one done. All right. Just line it up as best you can for it to be very straight. And taking off that little bit of an edge. All right. So when I cut mine, I used an older blade in my cutter so that it left a rougher edge on mine that will soak up ink a little bit better. If you only have a new blade or are using scissors, you can rough up the edge a bit with an emery board or some sandpaper, and it'll do the same thing. So if you don't have an old blade on hand, don't worry about it. All right, time to get that put away. All right, the next step we are going to do is we are going to cut out some words, basically. And what I have here is an old magazine page, basically. I think it's about woodpeckers. So it should be an interesting read for anybody who is using it as a bookmark. So I'm just going to trim off the words. I don't want a lot of blank space. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to put it up and measure that lower right-hand corner. And then I'm going to make a little nip where I want the top to go up through. And then I'm going to make a nip down at the bottom where the bottom left edge of the bookmark is. And those are kind of my guides. And then I'm going to tear. And I'm going to just jaggedly tear this down And notice how I'm tearing it so that there's a rough edge on the top of the newsprint going down. And that will expose the fibers on the paper and they'll absorb more ink. It's a cool kind of look, I think, on the bookmark once you do that. So I've got that fitted on there. So the next step will be for me to get out the distress ink, and you can see this is vintage photo. It's a great color to make things look vintagey. So I'm going to go all the way up, and I'm using a foam applicator there. It's just a rounded foam applicator, and I'm just lightly touching it all the way around the edge, darkening the edges all the way around. Maybe put a little bit more in the corners and back down the other side. And it just kind of gives it this aged look. And it's a look I really like. I just, there's some more techniques out there. It's probably one of my favorites. So I got that all the way around on that edge. Do little touch-ups there. And then we're going to do it on the newsprint as well. And as we go around this piece of newsprint, you can see where, as we get to that torn edge, how it really absorbs that ink. It is just really, because you expose those fibers, it is absorbing more of the ink than the other edges, which are a little slicker because it is a magazine page. So just put as much on there as you feel like, but get all those edges so that because it's hard to do them once you get them on the bookmark. So let's get that glued down. So we like the way it looks. So it's time to turn it over to the back side. And the glue I have in here is just a regular white glue. And I put it in an applicator that has a very fine tip so that I don't put down too much glue and make my paper, wrinkly and all that good stuff. And it dries fairly quickly, but it becomes tacky really fast. So just a little bit is all you need. We'll just get it all over the back of that piece. And then we're going to put it onto our bookmark, lining up the bottom. So let's turn it over. It's a little sticky. You might get glue on your fingers. I'm kind of used to having glue on my fingers. And hopefully I don't glue other things that I shouldn't glue to my fingers. So let's get that glue down there. Line up that right edge and the bottom. And it sticks pretty well. So I'm just going to press it down really well. And then give it a little press with my fingers. Add a little bit of ink to all those edges where I feel like it needs a little bit more maybe. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the back side. And that gives that glue a little bit of time to become tacky. And if you need to re-ink, definitely re-ink. But I love the foam applicator. It's kind of probably my favorite, because I feel like I have a little more control and I can go really light and just barely brush the surface and get that kind of random look on the bookmark. And I'm going to do kind of a little bit on the surface, but I'm just doing it very lightly. And I'm going to do that on both sides. As I look at it, I always decide that I want something darker, or more ink here, or more ink there. And so we'll go through that. And hopefully I will stop fidgeting with this now, right? And do the front. I'm just going to darken up the front just a little bit. You want it to look vintagey, but not overdone, I guess. That's kind of how I think of it. All right, time to put the ink away, because I could go crazy with ink. So we don't want to overdo it. All right. Now, the next step will be to audition a few of these flowers, and I have quite a few of these. So I had decided that I want to do something a little bit yellowy on it, but I wasn't sure which one until I got it done. So I think this one is a good one. It'll look good on this bookmark. And now I'm just trying to get the sticky off the back. Not always easy to get some of the sticky off of the back of these. I find it easier when you have something long to turn it sideways and just give yourself a little bit more control laying your sticker. So we've got our sticker down here. It is a little bit shiny. It'll stay a little bit shiny, but I use my dauber to try to take down a little bit of the shine and give it a little bit of an outline. And it's just lightly touching it, just very lightly using what ink is already left on the dauber. And then once I've satisfied with what I've done with the ink, then I'm just going to put my dauber and my ink pad away. And then I need to be able to take this and get a hole into the top because I want to put a ribbon through for my bookmark. So I'm just going to measure it on my mat here and find the center. And then I'm going to go about 1/4 inch down from the top. I'm going to make a little pencil mark. And then I'm going to use my hole punch to go through that. Now mine's a rectangle hole punch. It fits ribbon really well, but you can use a round hole punch as well. It works just as good. It just needs to be a little bit bigger one so that you can get the silk sari ribbon through. That is what I chose to use for this bookmark. I had a piece left over from one of the other bookmarks, so I'm just going to use that and thread it through the hole that I made. And I'm going to try not to pull on it too much. If I can ever get it through the hole, that would be good, right? Okay, so we'll get it through the hole, and then I'm just going to make a loop and then put the 2 loose pieces through that. And it makes a cute little, I don't know what you'd call it, but it overlaps it in the front when you do it this way. And you can see that it is a little loose when you first put it in, but then it's just, fidget with it until you get it looking the way that you want it to look. Just don't pull too hard on it. You might pull it right through your hole and rip your bookmark. And I like trimming them to a particular length. I do an angle, so it gives a little bit of character, I guess, if you will. So, and there you go. You have made a bookmark. Here are the 3 that I made today. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day. Thank you, everyone.